its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. It's Wednesday night, and that means this is the Journey Radio Show. Hey, we're showing up as the She-Squatchers. I'm your host, Jen Cruz, and I've got my trusty teammate, Jenna Grover, on the line. Hey, Jenna, are you there?
I am, and I'm super, super excited to see someone I have not seen for a very long time in person. This is as close as it gets, so woohoo!
It is. We haven't seen Michael for like almost a year. It's been almost a year.
Yes, I wasn't sure if I should have used his name or not. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, we've got a special guest on tonight. We've got Michael Cook coming to us tonight. He's coming to share his horrifying Bigfoot encounter. Well, let me just tell you a little bit. From the Travel Channel's latest show, These Woods Are Haunted, season 2, episode entitled Was it hunting us? Was it hunting us? Michael Cook, Bigfoot researcher for 20 years. He's a chef and an author, and he's going to explain what happened in Kentucky, October 2018, to him and 2 others when they became surrounded by 6 Bigfoot with a chance to not make it out. So I actually had to go and find the episode on Amazon and watch it before the show. Because I don't have cable TV right now. So I was like, I can't take it. I have to see it. I have to. So I have since watched it. But let's bring Michael on. Hey, Michael, are you there?
I am. How are you all?
Good. It's
Very
awesome
good.
to see you. Awesome to see you. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Boy, how long has it been, Michael? Seriously.
Last June.
Yeah, so it's almost a year. Wow, I bet you missed us so much.
I have. Yeah. There's a lot that's went on since I've seen you all. So, I'm catching up, seeing your pretty faces and those beautiful smiles. They always brighten the room. No matter what.
Say it again. Say it again.
He's only saying it because it's true.
Oh, I'll take that compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. So, tell us what's been going on. We've had you on the show before. And when I first, this is funny, Jenna doesn't know this, so I have to clue her in. When we first talked about bringing you back on the show this week, I asked you, well, what should we title the show to give people an idea of what we're going to be talking about? And he said, single and Bigfoot hunting.
I don't know how to take that.
So, ladies out there, if you're looking for a Bigfoot hunter, Michael's your guy. Check it out.
All right.
And he can cook.
Okay, yeah.
Literally. No, I meant like cook, like his last name. Sorry, I'm trying to be funny. It's just not happening. I'm sorry.
Jenna, I thought it was hilarious.
You're always funny. We always laugh at you. It's okay.
I know you laugh at me. That's the problem. I want you to laugh with me.
Oh, I do that too.
Good. Yeah, you do. What am I saying? Oh, Michael, if you could be on one of our road trips in the back seat, you would laugh your butt off.
I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be than in the back seat on a road trip with you two.
Aww.
It is definitely an interesting time. That is for sure.
So you all had the opportunity to go squatching with me last year in Virginia, but you chose to get facials instead.
That was something that was, Mama Squatcher was very intent on giving us all facials, and I was like eating that up.
We had activity. It was great.
What time was that? Wasn't that around 11 o'clock at night?
We didn't get back until about 11 or 12, but yeah, we were gone for about 4 hours.
God darn it.
Yeah, we went over on the in Daniel's research area, and had a fantastic time. That was hot. It was very hot. Mosquitoes and stuff was rampant. And but other than that, we heard whoops, definite tree knock. Um, the birds, the whippoorwills, were acting really weird. Like it was almost like they were following something going back and forth around us. It was a very ominous feeling, if you will.
Well, next time we will have to say, Mama Squatcher, please. I'm sorry. We'll have to change the time because we will be out with Michael Cook. I'm sorry. So we'll go next time. Yay! Oh, so you're single and ready to mingle? Were you looking for a Bigfooter to find or just a regular old gal?
Jokingly, that was all a joke. I am single. I am probably the best thing to be right now, because it's really life or death now. If you meet somebody new, they could be carrying the corona, and that would be bad. Yeah.
What a way to go.
With everything going on with my life, as most that know me personally, other than the Bigfoot stuff, they know that I'm a dad, number one. Then I'm a businessman. I run a business. I run my own business, and with that being said, I have a whole mountain of stuff on top of the Bigfoot stuff. Bigfoot takes has for 20 years, takes the very last spot in my itinerary, in my priorities. So, that being said, there's not very much room for a significant other right now. If I can say that right. There's not a whole lot of room. I would love to find somebody. That'd be great. But someone that could go with my schedule and go with my constant, you all know me, I'm always, other than right now because of the crisis we're in, I'm always somewhere. I'm coast to coast all the time doing something. I'm on a plane more than I'm on the ground. Mm-hmm. And I just would have to find somebody that would jive with that.
Not needy, clingy. Got it.
Not needy, clingy, or ready to go whenever I'm ready to go.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, ladies, got it out there. We're advertising. Michael Cook, single and looking.
Yes. So go cooking, popping. I'm just going to say that's a new awesome word we'll be using from now on. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
It's from Ireland.
It's a Midwestern thing is what it is.
Poppin'?
Yeah.
Shut up. Seriously? We've had poppin' this long and I didn't know about it?
So I got to say, we already know that if you go out on a date with Michael Cook, he's going to take you squatching at some point. That's going to happen. So,
but for those who watch the Travel Channel show, know that a squatching date with me can turn out pretty wild. And that's what happened. I mean, October 6, 2018, Gwen and I had been dating, Gwendolyn Guthrie, Weston now. We had been dating for about a month. And leading up to that night, the third and fourth, we were at a very haunted location in Indiana. Come straight off of that, and I actually quit paying my publicist, so I didn't have anybody scheduling speaking engagements. And I said, I can schedule myself. That's no big deal. So I scheduled myself. I double booked myself for 2 library lectures in the same day at 2 different events, 30 miles apart. So we come off the road from Indiana. We get back to Richmond, where I lived at the time, in Kentucky. And I went to the first library lecture, knocked it out, got a call halfway through. It's like, hey, we're kind of waiting on you to show up. And I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, you scheduled a library lecture today with us at this event. And I'm like, oh no.
My people must have done it.
Yeah, that was my first go-to. But so I get and do that. And then I had remembered that our friend Kenny had wanted to come up and go squatching with us that day too. So we're literally, we're dead tired. We're burnt out on traveling. And I said, okay, Kenny, we'll go, but I'm going to take you to a spot where some stuff happened. Research area that Glenn Mink and myself, you all know Glenn, we had some spooky stuff go on. And we had actually saw two Bigfoot at the same time, but together back in 2015. And so I took them to this area, but going back, nothing had happened. We'd researched in there for months and even a year after we saw the two, and there was a lot. I think I told you all about that the last time I was on. The ball of light in the forest. After that, nothing happened for months. We didn't even hear crickets. It was eerily quiet, but it was completely dead on that mountain. So we shut it down. We shut the research area down, and in fact, I put it over in my case closed files and said, I'm done with this. We got to find somewhere else to go, So, but they wanted to go somewhere, and I said, I can take you to a spot. I can show you where these two Bigfoot were, show you an amazing lookout, and it's a little bit of a hike, but it's worth it in the end. So we go up, and my whole intentions that day were to get out by dark. And to be honest with you, shoot you straight, I wanted to get out, eat some chicken wings, and drink beer. I was on the road for 4 days. I was tired. I was ready to chill out. Mm-hmm. So we get up there. We're at the lookout. We're watching the sunset, and it dawns on me, crap, the sun's setting. I didn't bring any flashlights because I didn't have any intentions of staying. And Kenny comes to the rescue, of course. And he said, I've got 3 flashlights. They're on the TV show. They showed the big flashlights. They wouldn't. They were more like keychain flashlights you push with your thumb. And I said, just enough to see where we're going, because where the trail going down, we come up a different trail and going down a different trail. The trail going down is treacherous. It's straight down, but it's the quickest way to get off the mountain. So we could see where we were going, shining lights. We get to this one spot, and these real rough rocks. I'll say it like that. There's a word, but I can't say it because of the rules. We'll just say locals call it breast rocks because they're literally round rocks, and if you look at them, they look like breasts.
You're so cute.
But I'm centering myself. So I'm helping Gwen down. Kenny's coming down, and I hear something up on the ridge. And Gwen looks at me when I hear it, because you get that look like, uh-oh. So she goes, what? And I said, nothing. Nothing. Kenny comes down, and he said, listen, are you all hearing this? I said, no, Kenny, I don't know what you're talking about, man. But I was. Definitely something around us. So in this particular spot, it's straight down. And I said, let's get on down, and then we'll investigate it, because you can't run downhill. If we had to run, you cannot run downhill. You'll kill yourself. Mm-hmm. So we get on down. The whole way down, I keep on hearing this just paralleling us, walking right beside of us. And then I started noticing Gwen, and I started noticing Kenny, and they were both hearing it. And I said, all right. So at this point, I was pretty sure what we were dealing with was a Bigfoot. Bears are few and far between in that area. If they see you, they take off. They don't follow you. So we get down on the show, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of relate the show version to what actually happened. I'll state this, everything that happened on the TV show happened, with the exception of two major things, and I'll get to those. Three. This first one, we were a lot closer to where our cars were when the incident happened than what it portrays on the show. I guess it's because they wanted to kind of dramatic it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we were probably about 300 to 350, 400 yards or so away from the cars. Not far at all. And I stopped and I said, okay, let's see what we can do. So, number two, what happened, on the show, it shows me knocking 3 times. I never knocked 3 times. I knocked once. That's all I knocked. Because I've never been one to sit and continuously beat on trees. Not going to do it. So I take a stick, and it's roughly 2 foot long or so. It's dense, and I pop it on the tree. And as soon as I hit it, right on the ridge above us, definitive wood-on-wood knock. I look over at Kenny. All the color drains out of him. Gwen gets excited. And I said, guys, that's what we're dealing with. I knew right then and there. So Kenny starts kind of easing the back a little bit. And I said, Kenny, listen. Don't run. If you run, we die. You'll lose the race. You can't outrun these things. It's impossible. Let's stay calm, see what's going to happen. This moment I tell Gwen, I say, Gwen, get the camera out. We got to film this. We got to get any kind of footage we can get. So, for about 50 minutes or so, this all happens. And our camera, our phone, my phone went dead. Okay. Don't know why. I never did use it that day. It just got zapped. Gwen's phone, the only reason she had power to it was because she had an external power bank. So she charged it up coming back down the mountain. Kenny's phone was dead. So my phone went dead. Gwen picks back up on hers, and it's filming on YouTube Live. And we had used YouTube Live at the paranormal location and everything for hours, countless hours, and stayed lit up. But for some reason, our phones would not stay charged there that night. And as we're standing there, there's motions and going on around us. On the show, it says that we were surrounded by 2. We were not surrounded by 2. We heard 6 definitive, distinctive, different movements around us. Does that mean there were 6 of them? No. That means we heard 6 different movements. There could have been more, there could have been less. But nevertheless, there were more than 2. So we're standing there, and you could hear them walking around us growling, and they would step towards us and step back, shuffle like. And I said, we've probably got to get out of here. We got to get out of this situation. And the whole time I'm thinking, Bigfoot went out of my mind, and all I'm thinking about is I put 2 people I really care about in a situation where they're surrounded by something that we may not be able to get out of. And Gwen, at the time, the show portrays her as being scared to death. She was never scared to death. She kept it together. I kept it together. Kenny kept it together as much as he could. Barring the situation he had never been in. I had never been in that situation. None of us had. I've been around these creatures, but I'd never been surrounded by them.
Did this disappoint you as far as how they portrayed you guys?
No, my guy looked good. He looked like a military dude. He was great.
He did. I was like, wow.
they amped it up a little bit. They did, which was to be expected. Mike, the Ohio Night Stalkers, they told us way before. See, they're the only 2 that actually knew what we were doing in Philadelphia those 3 days. See, we flew up to Philadelphia that year for 3 days, and we posted on Facebook. We were up there, but I travel so much, people didn't know what we were doing. We were given strict instructions not to be broadcasting it. And as it turns out, it was almost a year and a half before it ever came out. So it was supposed to come out in October of this past year, and it did, and it came out in March. So, but going back, Gwen stooped down in the middle of the trail, and she drew a circle. And she said that her grandma had always drew this design, and it was for protection. And she felt safe in that circle. However, me and Kenny were outside of it, so we didn't feel safe. And
no.
Would you have felt safe inside the circle?
No, not at that particular time.
All right.
I was thinking, and I don't mean this in a offensive manner. I was logically thinking we have got to get out of here, especially when I reached over and I touched Kenny, and it was warm. Kentucky's not a cold state. We get cold a couple of months a year, but we're not a cold state. October's nice. And I felt of Kenny. He had this cold sweat. He was completely pale. I said, Kenny, are you okay? And he said, no, I got to get out of here. And I said, okay. Yeah, man, we need to get out of here. And it was for his safety. I didn't want him to have a heart attack, you know. And I walk over to Gwen, and I put my hand on her shoulder, and I said, Gwen, honey, we got to go. As soon as I got that out of my mouth, there was a rush toward us, this stomping, coming straight to us. I'd already drawn my firearm, didn't even know I draw. I drew my firearm out, and I had my firearm pointed at the movement. Gwen had moved from where she was sitting at in the circle, had moved, and she was around the backside of me, crouched down. And I just said, whatever you are, you've got to stop. Let us out of here. Just let us out of here. And I told Gwen, I said, Gwen, you and Kenny go ahead of me, move ahead of me. And she said, what about you? And I said, listen, I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this. I really am. I sent my kid a text, and I said, hey, bub, I love you. Just thinking about you. That could have been the last text he ever got from me. And I told Gwen, I said, I've got 9 in the clip and 1 in the chamber. If something happens, I know I said don't run, but go as fast as you can. Get to the car. Call 911. They're not going to believe you, so don't even mention the word Bigfoot. Go. So that was the plan. Something happens behind them, they're not to look back, they're to run. So we're walking, and I just took that little flashlight, and I look over my shoulder, and one roughly 9-foot range, about 15 foot from me, took one step across the 8-foot trail. I didn't see any details. All I saw was the silhouette, and that was enough. And I said, I've got to get out of here. So I walk up, and I put my hands on both of their backs, and I kind of just shove them on down the trail. So we're down at the bottom, and there's this shelter house there. And I said, okay, I think we're all right. I think we're safe. You know, we got shelter now. We're right there at the cars. What do you think? What's going on? What do you think? And again, this loud bang, it sounded like a shotgun went off. They started throwing rocks at us. And we moved on down to the cars, and we're down at the cars. And I said, okay, now I know I'm safe. I know I'm safe. If I can't take care of them with this one pistol, I've got 3 more right there in the car. So we're standing there, taking our breath, kind of collecting our thoughts, and this whoop, right here on the ridge, just went off. Right here on this ridge, whoop, all the way up, started whooping, all the way up to the top of the mountain. And I said, oh my God. Then it dawns on me. Holy crap. we're recording this. We had it all on video. I said, oh my God. So they finally calmed down. I said, Gwen, we gotta save this. We gotta share it. She goes to save it and share it. This is number 3 of the TV show. What the next day? It was that night. Number 3, she saves it, shares it, and it malfunctions. I said, okay, no problem. Reboot it, get it back up. It was on YouTube Live. It's got to be saved. It wasn't. In just the first 9 minutes. And in those first 9 minutes, you can see what's actually going on around us. You know that we are in a very terrifying situation. But it didn't show the bluff charge. It didn't show the whooping, the growling. One part there was a growl, but it's before this I'd never really read into it. I heard about the samurai chatter and all that, but I never really read into it a whole lot. And I got to talk to Ronald Moorhead at Daniel's thing in 2018. And then I talked to him again just a few months ago, or a few months after this happened. I interviewed him, and we got talking about the samurai chatter and what it actually sounds like. And that's what we were hearing that night, was the chattering. So we don't know what actually happened. Nobody knows what a pain in the butt it is to get a hold of YouTube. Someone at YouTube, an actual person. I'd done that for 4 months. Finally got a hold of, talked to somebody, and had them go back and look. They have a log of every single malfunction YouTube has. Nothing malfunctioned that night. It was like it was never recorded. So, I don't know. But other than us running, we never ran. The flashlights, Gwen being scared to death. We were all on our toes. We were all on edge. And that's a good thing to be. I'm a firm believer in you have to stay calm in any kind of situation like that, no matter what. In 2018, I come toe-to-toe with a Northern California brown bear at Bluff Creek. And I stayed calm the whole time, and it was right here. Did I want to run? Absolutely. I wanted to run. I would have never made it. I would have never been able to even take off. Bears run at a remarkable speed for a short distance, and it would have got me. Just thank God they didn't have cubs. Because me and Jeff Ellis both would have, we wouldn't have had this conversation. And that's just the fact of the matter. And that's another reason, like going out squatching and stuff. I haven't been out squatching by myself in years because of that very situation. You got to have somebody there with you, not only to back up your stories, but also for protection. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you, when you were telling this story, Michael, you just seemed so emotional. Has this really, really put a damper on a lot of the things you were working at? I know we're ready for a commercial soon. Sorry, Jen. Should we?
Yeah, let's go to the commercial. It's time for a commercial break. We'll come back with a question. Stay tuned, everybody. Yeah, you saw me shake my head like, no.
Yeah, I was like, oh, crud, because I thought, I think my computer's like a minute slower than everything else. But Michael, you are doing fabulous.
Sarge does say it sometimes. My clock is fast, but.
Oh, okay. How are you doing?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You awesome. Tired?
Wore out. I'm always tired. Yeah.
Okay.
It gets worse the older you get, telling you.
Yeah, it does. Boy, when I turn 40 next year, it's gonna be like, oh, whoa.
Ever.
You're a March baby too, right?
I am. I'm March 10th.
You're a day before me.
Am I? Are you the 11th?
You're a year and 1 day older than me. If you're
Shut
going
the
to be
front
40,
door.
She's not going to be 40.
I was just teasing. I'm actually I'm 46.
No, you're not.
No,
No,
I don't
you're
believe
not.
I don't believe it myself.
I'm 38. I feel it. I believe it.
I just pretend it's not happening and that life has no meaning as far as time or age. I'm just doing. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
why
I live in a realm of no time and space. So
I'm celebrating anniversaries of my 29th birthday. Yeah.
30 seconds.
Awesome.
So Jen, do you want me just to ask the question again?
Okay. And then somebody did ask how many vocalizations are there. So we're going to come back with that too.
10. I'll be 64, kiddos.
you got to speak, Sarge.
Happy birthday.
He wins.
You win.
And roll.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She-Squatchers. Won't you check us out online at SheSquatchers.com? Right there at the top of the page, you're going to find links to our YouTube page. Won't you please come and subscribe to our YouTube channel? We're still in a YouTube subscriber race with another YouTuber that was supposed to end the middle of April at the Yakima Valley Bigfoot Conference in Toppenish, Washington. However, because of COVID, that event has been postponed to October. So has our race. So please come subscribe to our channel and help us win. Also, you can follow us on Facebook. That's where we're going to be posting all of our up-to-date what's going on with us and what's going to be on the show too. So come check us out there, She-Squatchers Official. And tonight we've got Michael Cook on the show with us tonight. And ladies, he's single, so check him out. He also is a very good cook. So cooking with Cook? Is that
Let's Cook with Michael Cook.
Let's Cook with Michael Cook on Facebook.
And
go check it out.
Let's Go with Michael Cook.
Awesome.
Busy guy.
The first episode of that is up. North Carolina and the Bigfoot Museum in Georgia. So 45 minutes of me hanging out with David Becara and some cool people in North Carolina. So,
well, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So Jenna had a question before we went to the break, and then I also have a question in the chat room. Somebody was asking how many vocalizations are there, and so let's get to both of those questions before we forget.
Okay, vocalizations first. Personally, I mean, I've only heard a handful. I mean, they're pretty cut and dry as far as their vocalizations. I mean, it's like kind of like how many sounds does a dog make? I mean, but if you are a believer in infrasound, then we don't know how many actual sounds that they're making that we're not hearing. So there you go with that. The whoops, whoop, the long, what's affectionately known as the how, screams. We've heard those. Sam DeLoach and myself heard some screams one night. Whistles. Whistles are prominent, especially out in the Midwest. They are very prominent out there. That's a very, very good communication tool they use is whistling out there. Clapping. And that's a lot of times when people perceive a wood knock, a lot of times it is a clap. That's so loud, it does sound like they're beating on a tree. Other than that, I mean, the samurai chatter, vocalizations of the samurai chatter. Ronald Moorhead has the best collection of Bigfoot sounds to date, and they've been analyzed over and over and over by cryptolinguists and stuff, and nobody can debunk that. So, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. The newest Missing 411, David Paulides show, The Hunted, came out, and it had Ron's Sierra Sounds toward the end of it. But that's still the Patterson Gimlin film and the Sierra Sounds are two of the best, if not the top 1 and 2 proof that there is something out there. So, your question, Jenna, what was it?
I was listening to you as you were telling your story, and as you were telling it, you were really reliving it, and the look on your face just made me feel like this was such an emotional experience for you that it really just kind of made you kind of take a little whirl around, should I really be doing this? Should I be bringing people out with me? Can you just, what do you think?
You hit something really hard right there. The taking people out that's not experienced, and I added the not experienced thing. I don't think anybody out there could have prepared for what happened that night to us. And I'm not being, I'm not gloating about it or bragging about it. I'm just saying that was something nobody could prepare for. And I really did, emotional wise. I put 2 people in serious danger. And that would have been on me. If something would have happened to either one of them that night, I would have never been able to live myself. Never been able to. Even if it wasn't Bigfoot, if something physically would have happened to Kenny, if he would have had a heart attack, I would never been able to forgive myself for that. And that's something that I have really thought about since, is who I take out with me. Like, we were talking before the show. I no problem taking you girls out, because I have a good feeling you all can protect yourselves, and you all know how to take a situation like that. However, still, that situation that we got in, I don't think anybody could prepare for that. And I mentioned him a minute ago, David Paulides. Think about how many of his cases might have started out like that. The Missing 411 cases, how many of those could have actually started out like what happened to us? And that's one thing I really thought about that night after the fact. I said, this could have turned out really bad. As far as changing, going out, I've always been a carrier of any kind of weapon. Firearms the best, because we have bear here in Kentucky. They're black bear, but still, nevertheless, just going back to the whole brown bear and cubs thing, you don't want to mess with any bear. Don't care what it is with a cub. And we also have the rogue mountain lion here and there. So it's best to go out with a firearm. I don't care if you believe in it or not. Go out with a firearm. Now, some people in the Bigfoot community, and one of my heroes, Arla Williams, she knows that they know you have a firearm on you. And you all, those listening, I'm not going to go into the big detailed story because we don't have time, but she took a person out one time, and they mind spoke to that person and said, what are you doing with that gun? Paraphrasing it, but what are you doing with that gun? And does she know you have that gun? And he stops and says, I can't go any farther because they know I'm packing. She said, why are you packing? But I think if you go in intent, with whatever your intent is, if you're going in there your intentions is purely protecting yourself and others, I don't think they're going to care if you have one or not. That particular night, if one would have came closer to us, seriously threatening our lives, I want to get that out because I said something on another interview that completely took out of context. If something would have came towards us that night, seriously threatening our lives, I would have fired upon it. Other than that, I don't need a dead body. I don't need a Bigfoot with a gunshot wound to the head to prove they exist. I don't need them. I quit trying to prove Bigfoot exists years ago. I got my proof 20 years this October on a riverbank. I got that proof. I don't need that proof anymore. I just want to learn about them now. I did learn that the last couple of years that they are very territorial and they're not to be messed with. I think if we explore them at a distance, observe, and keep our distance, I think we'll be okay. But I think it's once we get into their bubble, into their worlds, I don't think we want any part of that.
I was just curious, how many years do you see, or how many years do you think it will be until Bigfoot evidence will be out there and we will be starting to really start learning from them? Like it'll be proven and.
Oh God, I've been in this for so long. I've always said next year. I've always said that for 20 years. It's been next year. It's always next year. But now, I don't know. I look at it like this. Last year, the World Science Organization, whatever it's called, WSO, they released a statement about the Loch Ness Monster. And so they believe that there is something there because they done microbiological DNA, mitochondrial DNA, and all this stuff. I think, and then just this week, the Pentagon finally releases the footage of the UFOs.
Yeah.
So if you would have asked the general public 10 years ago, do you believe in Bigfoot? They would have probably got laughed at. But with the integration of TV shows like Finding Bigfoot was the biggest catalyst. More people watched it, maybe for entertainment, but they opened their minds. Now your average homegrown American will say, it's a possibility. You know, anything's possible. If you would have told me last year that I would have been confined to my home for the last 6 weeks, not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel because of a super flu, I would have laughed at you. I would have, because it just doesn't seem it didn't seem possible. But now it does. As far as Bigfoot research goes, I believe that more and more. Well, you take Claudia Ackley, for example. Claudia, a very good friend of mine, she went about it the wrong way, in my opinion, but she tried to push the California government into taking Bigfoot sightings seriously. If the government, if Fish and Wildlife, Fish and Biology, or whatever you want to call them, Fish and Game, if they would just acknowledge the possibility that these things do exist, that's not saying they exist.
Mm-hmm.
If they would acknowledge the possibility that these things could exist, that would open a realm for more possibilities, more mainstream science. As far as society, science, and all that, unfortunately, they're going to have a body. Now,
a body, but what about bones? What if you just found remnants?
Bones with anything biological, anything with carbon in it. DNA.
I mean, it's rare to find bones in the woods. I know that, but I have found quite a few full skeletons in the woods. I found a button buck. That was kind of creepy because I'd never seen like a buck skull that had the little horns that like looked pretty devilish, you know? Yeah. And I was like, what the heck? I didn't know that they had that on their skull. And it was a full skeleton. I found quite a few beavers there and some rabbits, you know, but it was this whole different area that was just right there. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's possible to find bones. It just might be less likely to, but you could find bones. It could happen.
Yeah, you got to look at scavengers though. The birds, porcupines eat bones. They're going to take them. I'm a firm believer in they bury their dead. So if they find a crevice or something like that they can throw their dead in and humanely get rid of them, I think they do.
See, that brings me to another question. I'm so sorry I interrupted, but honestly, what do you think they are? Do you think they're more of a people, or do you think they're more of a being, a creature?
I was going to ask that too, because he said that something got zapped. So that led me to wanted to ask you that question. You think that something got zapped. What do you think that's about too?
Well, girls, I've always kind of lived there on the edge of what people. As soon as people think they've got me figured out, it's something completely different from what they're thinking. 20 years ago, I would have said it was an undiscovered species of primate, and just straight up, nothing more, nothing less. 5 years ago, I witnessed a blue light in the forest. Had a rock thrown at us that same night where the blue light was. 2 years ago, I got surrounded by 6 beings that were able to manipulate energy and take it out of the devices we had in their pockets. Today, I think we're probably dealing with something, this is great, because I spoke at the Primal Peoples conference in Georgia, Tom Cantrell's conference, and I believe I was probably the only flesh and blood guy there, surrounded by a bunch of great people. But I said this: I believe these creatures are born like we are. Maybe they are a primate. Maybe they are. I believe that certain chosen ones are endowed with certain abilities that are able to manipulate, dare I say, dimensions. But
you dared.
In the end, I believe there's also some that's not, that are just regular Joes that have no special abilities, like the one that fell down the hill in front of me into the river 20 years ago. And my whole argument during that was, if it could cloak, why did it not cloak? If it could step into a dimension, why did it not stop everything that was going on, slip between the fabrics of space and time, and I would never seen it? And then I got to thinking recently, maybe it wasn't special. Maybe it was like me. No special abilities or anything like that. Maybe it was just Joe Bigfoot took a wrong step, fell down a hill in front of a kid, pretty much. And maybe, you never know. I think, as far as Bigfoot research and the bodies go, if it takes a body, I don't think we'll ever get one. Simply because of all the stuff that goes on with them. But at the end of the day, I am a in the field researcher. I'm a dad. I'm a cook. I go out when I can, search for crazy things out there that people don't believe in. And if that's all I ever do, I'm satisfied with it. If there's never proof that these things exist, it's all right. It's okay. It gives the next generation something to look for. Why put a puzzle together and hang it on the wall? Why not take a couple of pieces and throw behind the couch? If that puzzle's never solved, then you've always got something to do.
Oh, very true.
That is a point. I've often said, we have so much fun doing what we do. I did think about this one day. I was like, what if they find definitive proof of Bigfoot and the search for Bigfoot is no more? That would be just sad. Because we have so much fun doing that. But then I thought, well, we're still going to want to know more about Bigfoot, so we'd still go out there.
The only problem, and I don't mean to interrupt, the only problem with that would be the integration of mainstream research, which would be in the scientific community, where you would have to have a certain permit and all this stuff to go out to research these things. The elitist of the communities would go out. It would become pandemonium. And these things would, God bless them, they would never be able to get any rest. Mm-hmm. They would never be able to, because the woods would be filled with millions of people out looking for them every year. You always got that one guy that's wanting to kill one, not that guy.
Yeah.
So, what if their populations aren't what we think they are, which is very low? If they're very high and they're not even extinct or on the extinction list, then that opens up hunting seasons and stuff like that. Why would you do that? I mean, why would anybody want that?
Mm-hmm.
If the Bigfoot researcher says he's looking for proof, my first question is why? If you didn't get the proof whenever you started looking for Bigfoot, then what are you doing? You're out wandering around the woods, hitting trees, whooping and hollering, and what's that going to do? Seriously. It never done anything for me for about 15 years. I've learned more in the last 5 years than I ever learned in the last 20 years.
Why do you think it's different now?
My mind is opened. My heart is open. I closed my eyes and saw everything. Saw it for what it really is. And what it really is a mystery. I love it. It's something that will draw you back in no matter. You all know that I took the break and I said I'd never come back, and it took one picture from Western Kentucky to draw me back in. And, am I completely back in the Bigfoot world? No. I don't think I ever will be, because I've got so much other things going on. But I like it. I enjoy when I get a break to go out looking for Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it. And, like that's what I find hilarious about a lot of people. They think that we do it for a living.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, actually. It's money draining.
It is. Yeah. I wish I had done it for a living. That'd be great. So, hey, quick story. So listen to this. So March the 15th was when this TV show came out. And I'm at a bar in Asheville, North Carolina. And the bartender just does it on his own. I didn't coach him into this or anything. Right hand to God. He goes, "Oh, wait. It's almost 9:00. I got a TV show coming on that I want to watch." And I was like, "There's no way." And he turns it over to Travel Channel. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, uh-oh. Because I really hadn't said a whole lot to anybody. And the first thing you see is me on TV above his bar. And I kind of glance over and there's like 70 people in the bar. And they're all looking up at one time and at the same time simultaneously look over at me. And this old lady sitting next to me goes, "You know that guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, he looks familiar, doesn't he?"
What did she say? Did you say, "It's me"?
I said, "That guy looks a lot like me, don't he?" She was like, "You're wearing the same shirt." Then I realized I was wearing the same shirt I was wearing in the show.
That's funny. That's funny.
It got weird quick. But
like how? What happened after?
A lot of people wanted to talk about it. And it's so weird trying to keep up conversations with 70 people. It really is. Yeah. And then the friend requests. And I asked Gwen about this not long ago, but she come back and said, "I get friend requests by the millions a day." And I'm like, "No, listen, I've gotten so many with messages like wanting to tell me about their Bigfoot experiences and stuff. And, that's great. I don't do sighting reports anymore. I haven't in a long time, since probably the BFRO days. But, yeah, the friend requests, I'll still get them. When they air the show, I'll get 100, 200 friend requests at a time.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
boy.
I woke up the morning after the show aired with, no kidding, 194 notifications just on Facebook alone, just the page. On my messenger was about 70 or so messages, requests for people wanting to talk. And I mean, I jokingly talked to a buddy of mine who runs another organization here in Kentucky, and I said, if I was doing sighting reports, I'd have you beat by now, in just a couple of hours, man. And but I don't do those anymore. Field research, that's it.
But didn't you feel wonderful that all those people wanted to contact you and say hi and, ask you questions you didn't? Okay, so anyway, anyone out there listening, do not contact Michael Cook. He doesn't want to hear from you.
No, I do. I will talk to anybody about it.
He's single and looking.
Yes.
I'll talk to anybody about it. Feel free, Michael W. Cook on Facebook. Send me a friend request. I'll talk to you about it. I would really like to know, if anybody's listening, really like to know if you've had any kind of similar experiences to what happened to the three of us, and what you done, and what happened, and how you feel after it. No, Kenny, it bothered me for a while, and it still does, about all that. But Kenny has a form of PTSD from it. I don't think Kenny gets out in the woods much anymore because of that. And it's just one of those things where we got into a situation that we got out of it. How we got out of it, the grace of God. It wasn't our time.
Well, we're very glad you all got out of it, because we're happy that you guys are here and ready for another day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I've got so much other things going on. Like I said earlier, I've got the cooking show and stuff like that on Facebook. Let's Cook with Michael Cook. Appreciate any kind of likes.
Do you have a Facebook page for your cryptic research still?
Nope, I got rid of it. You want to talk Bigfoot? Just find me.
All right, Michael.
Let's go with Michael Cook. Brand new show. I'm filming myself. It's my adventures out in the world.
Awesome. Well, I really want to thank you for coming on the show tonight, and I hope you come back on when you get some new experiences and more to share, and update us on your dating status. And until we get to see you again at another event, hopefully someday soon, they'll start doing events again. We're definitely missing out on our travels right now, but stay safe, everybody, and we're thinking of you, and thanks for tuning in tonight, and thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next week, everyone. We're the She-Squatchers. Check us out. Good night, everyone.
Bye.